This is my last video for the school year. I'm sad. Obviously, I would rather this be with you guys, but I'm happy that for those of you that have taken advantage of these videos and worked so hard during this time, I really miss you guys, and I know you're going to be great next year. For those 7th graders, I'm going to be able to see next year. I'm excited to see what you do in geometry. For those 8th graders, please come back and visit. You'll love Lincoln, but don't forget where you came from. I love you. So last video, we looked at 2A tables. And we did look at this specific table. And let's read the statement. So the principal says that males in the interview have a stronger preference for math than females. Why might the principal say this? Well, the principal is probably saying that more males prefer math than females because the number is larger. So the number is larger. But this might not necessarily be true because if you remember, we interviewed way less females than we did males. So what we can do is we can calculate conditional relative frequencies. And what that means is we're going to compare the specific number to the total of the categories instead of the full total. So if we're talking about math, remember we had 42 males, we're going to compare this to the total number of males, which was 89. And then we had 47 English compared to the 89 males. For females, we had 35 compared to the 60 females, and 25 preferred English out of the 60 females. So let's go ahead and calculate these totals. This would be 0.47. This would be 0.58. This would be 0.53. And then this would be 0.42. So you can see that the percentage or the probability of a female liking math is way higher than males. It's 58% for females that like math and 47% for males. So just looking at the numbers, if the totals are not the same, would not be an accurate description. So what percentage of male students preferred math? That would be our 47%. And then female students who prefer math would be 58%. And this is called conditional relative frequencies, and it's because they're not based on the total. We compare the numbers to one of the options. So in this case, we're comparing to gender, and we could also be comparing to math. So when trying to predict a person's class preference, does it help to know their gender? Yes. Because if we're talking about males, more males like English versus math. Well, they're almost 50-50, but definitely females. Way more females prefer math than English. So to evaluate whether there is a relationship between the variables, we want to look at that conditional relative frequency. So was there an association between gender and class preference? Well, we already kind of talked about that. Yes, there was. 58% of females liked math and only 47% of males did. And that's a pretty significant difference. Now, if it were like 53 and 48 or 53 and 52, then maybe we wouldn't consider that an association. But because those numbers are so far apart, we would definitely say that there's an association between the gender and the preference of the class. Okay, so let's look at I believe we also looked at this table in the previous video. So this was males and females who liked video games or who didn't like video games. So let's first look at the first question. What percent of the students who do not play video games are female? So we're specifically staying in the category do not play video games. So we were talking about females, so that's 85 out of 145. And I'm using that total because that's the amount of students who don't play video games. And that would be about 59% if we rounded. So given that a student is female, what is the probability that that student does not play video games? So we're still using 85 because we're still talking about females that don't play video games, but now we're using a different total. We're talking about females. So we're talking about out of 150. And if we took that percentage, it's about 57%. So very close, but a little bit different. Very close though. So of the students who are male, what is the probability that the student plays video games? So let's go back. Total males is 129, and we're taking that 69 out of 129, and that would be about 54%. And then the last question is, what percentage of the students who play video games are male? So again, we're still using that 69 part, the joint, but we're now comparing to the total play video games, which is 134. And if we divide that out, that would be about 52%. So make sure that when you're doing this, you're comparing the the joint to the correct marginal number. So one of those we are comparing to the total males, the other one we are comparing to the total number of people who played video games. All right, and then the last question. Freshmen and sophomores were asked about their preferences for an end of the year school field trip. I'm so sad we couldn't go on ours to Grad Venture 8th graders and Busch Garden 7th graders who passed their final examinations. Students were given the choice to visit an amusement park, a water park, or a mystery destination. A random sample of 100 freshmen and sophomores was selected. The activity coordinator constructed a frequency table to analyze the data. So here's broken down between freshmen and sophomores, which they chose out of the total 100 people interviewed. So what does the relative frequency 10 out of 55 mean? Well, that means 10 out of 55 freshmen, because remember, we're just comparing to the total freshmen, 10 chose water park. All right, part B, what percentage of students who want to go to the amusement park are sophomores? So the total who want to go to the amusement park is 60, and sophomores is 35. And if we calculate that percentage, it's about 58%. So what activities should the coordinator schedule for sophomores? So if we look at sophomores, I would definitely say amusement park. We could calculate the percentage, and I'll just go ahead and tell you that it's 78% if you take 35 out of 45. But overwhelmingly, you can tell that more sophomores wanted to go to the amusement park, and that's not necessarily true for the freshmen. Although if you ended up calculating it, it is true, but not totally. All right, that's it. Again, if you have questions, please let me know. It's been such a great year with you guys. I know I'll hear from you after you watch this video at some point, but I love you. I miss you. Have a great summer, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon, hopefully. Bye.